Hello everyone and welcome to the Mugello Circuit for our Coppa Shell Race 2 of our final round of our 2025 championship. This is round 8. The championship has been decided in terms of the Coppa Shell, but nonetheless P2 is still up for grabs and there's still a race to come before we can close out the 2025 championship for Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. Let's give you our formal and official welcome to Mugello. The weather conditions now are a lot better than they have been, I can tell you, as we use that as a bit of a backdrop. This is our 2025 calendar. We've been to Monza, Misano, Hockenheim, Brno, Valencia, Barcelona, Spa-Francorchamps, and here we are in Mugello for the final round of this year. And the racing isn't all done, though, once the round 8 is concluded, because our Coppa Shell drivers will have the world final races to contest on Sunday. They'll be qualifying for them tomorrow. And the world final race is a non-points race. It's got nothing to do with the championship all season long, but it is, in fact, to prove who is the best in around the world, because all regions racing together. Track temperature 27 degrees right now. And as I say, it is dry. That's the way it looks at the moment. The grid of cars, some 13 cars will be taking to the track for our Coppa Shell race. We'll be bringing you the highlights from race 1 in just a moment. Now, this is Oscar Rinčević, who is driver of car number 121, and he is vying for potential uplift in terms of his championship place. He can't win the championship, but has done very well when you consider that he has missed an entire race weekend. It was quite an important reason for missing it. I think I'm right in saying that Oscar got married that weekend. So delighted to welcome alongside me regular competitor in the Ferrari Challenge and now official Ferrari factory driver, and that is Thomas Neubauer. Thomas, I think this year it's been GT World Challenge and some excursions out on the Nordschleife in Germany as well.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for inviting me. I'm super happy to be commenting with you this race. A place I know very well, especially in Challenge. But yeah, for me, the two main programs this year were Nürburgring and GT World Challenge. And honestly, it has been a good year, especially on the Nordschleife for me. I mean, it's an amazing track, super exciting with a lot of traffic, so many corners. The conditions are unreal. So yeah, it's a lot of fun out there.
I have to say, I have been driven as a passenger around the Nordschleife, and for me, the carousel is just extraordinary to experience. What's it like as a driver, Thomas?
But you know, a funny story is that on the race weekend, okay, you get to drive it on the race car. But after the race weekend, I went on the normal car, on the Nordschleife.
What, road car?
Yeah, the normal road car. And actually, I was more afraid of the track in the road car because, you know, everything is super soft.
Yes.
And you feel not like planted. While in the race car, you feel super confident to push. So I understand all these people that go on this track with the normal road car and they are like super like fearing and afraid of this place. I am as well, you know. So it's a crazy place. But yeah, the carousel is one of the best parts for sure. It's very unusual on the track to have a corner like this, but all the track is like this. It's amazing.
We are thrilled that you're with us. Thomas Neubauer, then we'll be speaking to him during the course of the program, but I wanted to introduce him formally because he's taken his time to come and be with us on the air, and we're delighted about that. Here are the highlights from race 1. Let's take a look at the highlights then of our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Race 1 in very difficult conditions. Then the cars were always going to start behind the Richard Niels safety car. Ernst Kirchmayr from pole position and John Dillon going from P2. For John Dillon, though, the grip afforded around the final turn was never going to be enough. He lost the back end of the car. That meant that he went around and leading the race, and John Dillon wouldn't be the only one to go around. Fabrizio Fontana finding the grass as well, and von Skeltermar under pressure from Oscar Rinčević and Tibor Valin. How did he hold this car out of the barriers? Well, he did, and he would continue to race, and he did it with aplomb, getting past Thomas Gössner, and Fabrizio Fontana looking for an opportunity to get by Thomas Gössner as well, and here the opportunity was gifted to him, so those two drivers went through. Whilst all that was going on, Ernst Kirchmayr was building up a wonderful lead at the front of the pack ahead of Oscar Rinčević and Ray Acosta. They were running P2 and P3, and Fabrizio Fontana able to take advantage of the fact that Thibaut Valint was on the painted lines, and here's Thomas Gostner and Motohiko Isasaki and Corinna Gostner. All three of them having a fantastic battle for some of the lower places in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. The two Gostners doing better than Motohiko Isasaki. Now, Manuela Gostner on the left of your picture here. At this point, as Willem van der Vorm went through, she was still going to seal enough points to secure the 2025 Coppa Shell Championship if it stayed that way. And Corinna Gostner, Manuela's sister, was just as determined to have as brilliant a race. And she went through on her father, Thomas Gostner, going through the final turn and heading up towards the start-finish straight as Ernst Kirchmeier took a win. His driver coach, Giacomo Altoe, was happy, but Manuela Gostner, by taking that P5 position, did enough to seal the 2025 Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Championship to the delight of the team. And Giacomo Altoe, Ernst Kirchmeier's driver coach, was pretty happy as well. The dark cloud loomed. That was the race yesterday then in horrible weather conditions. It is sunny today, and we will see how the weather conditions impact and affect. Now, the thing is, the drivers were qualifying in the wet weather conditions much earlier on in the week. Basically, they had one qualifying session where the fastest lap would set the grid for race 1, and second fastest lap would set the grid for race 2, and that's precisely what has happened. And there, the team saluting their champion for 2025, Manuela Gostner. She is the Coppa Shell champion. Now, there is so much going on here as part of Finali Mondiali. One of the things going on is a wonderful Casa Ferrari.
Between laps on tracks, there is a place where the time slows down and the passion keeps burning. This place is Casa Ferrari, the lounge of Finali Mondiali, where the clients and the drivers live the experience of the track embraced by the hospitality of the prancing horse. Here, the racing spirit, the style and the comfort make a perfect balance. From the yard of the Casa Ferrari unfolds a special terrace, a space spanned between comfort and speed, where every corner and every overtaking move can be experienced firsthand. It's here that passion meets the most stunning view of the circuit, where the roar of the engine eyes fills the air and the true racing soul of Ferrari can be felt in every breath. At Casa Ferrari, the experience goes beyond the track. Here, in fact, all the guests can challenge themselves with a unique flight simulator to try another type of speed and learn how to manage control and precision. At Casa Ferrari, speed takes on a new form. Inside the flight simulator, every moment reflects the same passion, precision and innovation that have always defined Ferrari.
So that is Casa Ferrari then, and that's just part of the experience of Finali Mondiali. And let's take a look at the track here. It's a track that Thomas knows really, really well. 5.245 kilometers, 14 turns or 15 turns, depending on how you count them. I count them as 14. 6 left, 8 right, and Sector 1's got 3 turns, Sector 2, 6 turns, and then Sector 3 has got 5 turns. That's the way it is. And Thomas, you're a hugely talented racing driver. This is what you racing drivers determine as being something of a technical circuit, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You have a lot of fast corners. So as a driver, these corners are the one you have to commit the most. So it's not easy. I remember I did my first Finali Mondiali as a driver here in Mugello. Unfortunately, I have a bad memory because the weather conditions were a bit like this, and in qualifying, I remember I had a big crash in turn 1. Actually, going out of the pit after a red flag, I had to avoid a car in front of me, and unfortunately, the input was a bit too much and I lost it and I ended up in the wall. So the race weekend was one to forget for me, but
okay.
The 2 ones afterwards were good. So
I remember you having success here. I remember that very, very well. So I don't remember the bad bits. So that's
same for me. I want to forget
I've erased that from my mind. Right, we're going to take a look at the grid in just a moment as the cars are released on their formation lap then. And our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell cars then for their final race of 2025 in terms of the championship. on their way behind the Richard Mille safety car. Always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. The formation lap, the Richard Mille safety car will lead them around, and then they will line up side by side in grid formation. Roll across the start-finish line. The lights will go from red to green, and we will be racing. Von Skeltermar going from pole position, but as I say, we'll bring in the grid in full. And talking of Von Skeltermar, there's his partner Cyril. Good afternoon, Cyril. She'll be hoping for good things for the Shark's Teeth fronted car. James Wyland, I was just talking about him a few moments ago. James Wyland goes from P13. Corinne Gosner from P12, and Motohiko Isasaki, one of the most enthusiastic drivers, goes from P11. It's P10 for Thomas Gosner and his daughter Manuela going from P9. Then we see Michael Martin and Ray Acosta. They are on the fourth row of the grid, P8 and P7. Tibor Valent and Fabrizio Fontana, they're P6 and P5. John Dillon, P4, Oscar Rinčević, P3. That's row 2. Row 1, though, Ernst Kirchmeier and Fons Skeltermar. Let's see how they do. Thomas, you are a classic example. You are one of those young drivers that used Ferrari Challenge as something of a springboard to becoming a completely professional Ferrari factory driver. This is such a good series to cut your teeth in, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that today I'm a Ferrari driver thanks to the Ferrari Challenge, which I did for 3 years in total, even though I didn't do a full season. But I remember Finali Mondiali is always a very, very nice event and a very important event as a driver, because you know that all the Ferrari very important people are looking at you, so you need to perform. Maybe if you perform, they will remember your name, and then the first good part of the job is done, you know.
Yes.
So then you have to for sure be fast. You have to prove yourself. You have to be obviously a good guy.
Yes.
But the Finali Mondiali is the best event to actually show up and to prove yourself again for the Ferrari people. So.
Fantastic. Thomas, great to talk to you. We'll hear more from Thomas during the course of the race, but the cars right now are getting themselves all together here with 30 minutes plus 1 lap on the board for the drivers to do. They're going through the final chicane right now. This is when they will line up side by side in grid formation. The Richard Mille safety car will escape and go off down the pit lane. Then it will be around the Bucina turn, which is running downhill. And then you've got 2 elevation changes on the start-finish straight as well as you climb uphill before then going downhill again, heading in towards turn number 1, which is something of a funnel. Right, Von Skeltermar, P1, Ernst Kirchmeier, P2. Then a very, very lively row 2 with Oscar Rinčević and John Dillon, who will be going into turn number 1 and come out of turn 1 more critically in P1. See if Von Skeltermar can make that car wide enough going through turn number 1. So cars are accelerating a bit now. We'll throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen so that you can see John Dillon champing at the bit to get going here behind Ernst Kirchmeier. So when the lights go out, we will be racing. Look, you've got to go through your grid box before you start racing. We're being held by the lights for a long time. And I really think that John Dillon got caught napping there through no fault of his own. I just felt that the lights were a long time before they went. Here comes Oscar Rinčević there. Bear in mind, they're going to be on cold tyres going into turn number 1 for the first time of asking. Von Skeltermar on the inside, Oscar Rinčević on the outside. And around they go. Ernst Kirchmeier, another driver that's dropped back down the order like John Dillon. And again, because just they were held so long at the start, Fabrizio Fontana up to P3. John Dillon come through to pick up P4 now, ahead of Ray Acosta, and Ernst Kirchmeier dropping even further back. So here comes Fabrizio Fontana and Oscar Rinčević going into the chicane. That was a perfect execution of an overtake there through the chicane. So Von Skeltermar leading from Oscar Rinčević in P3 now, because Fabrizio Fontana has gone through to pick up that P2 place. Then it is John Dillon running in P4. Now Fontana has made his way past Von Skeltermar as well. Thomas Neubauer, the man in the green and white car, is on a mission here.
Yeah, you can see that straight from the start he was like super aggressive and was willing to get these places, and he's done a great job so far because we're still in the first lap and he's already P1. So.
And there are places here at Mugello which are obvious places to overtake. There are other places where it's a little bit more difficult to overtake. It just looks like Fabrizio is prepared to have a go almost anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have some nice places to overtake, like T1 after big braking, but there are some other places you need proper commitment, and it looks like he went for it. Huh? He's ready to win the race already on lap 1, so now he has to finish the job. Still a bit less than half an hour to go, so yeah.
Right, he's built up a margin of 1 second already. Look at this, von Skeltermaar has got 2, champing at the bit behind him. John Dillon having got past Oscar Rinjovic here. Now, Oscar Rinjovic, we go 3 abreast on the start-finish straight then. John Dillon on the outside of von Skeltermaar. He puts his nose in front to get P2. And all going into turn number 1 right now. Here's Fabrizio Fontana. He is leading the race. Then the battle for P2 and also for P4. John Dillon has gone through to pick up that second place after a disastrous start for him when the lights were held for a long, long time. And now Ray Acosta and von Skeltermaar are getting together here. And Tibor Valint, another driver that wants to get an invitation to this party, if you like, for the podium. It's Fontana, from Dillon, from Rinjovic, from Skeltermaar. But it could change at any moment. Everything is happening out there on track. It really is a compelling race so far as Ray Acosta now is taking it to von Skeltermaar, who metaphorically has to try and stick his elbows out here and protect that position that he has of P4 currently. But you can see that Ray Acosta, who's raced not only here in Europe, but also in the North American series as well. He's from Miami. He is all over the back of von Skeltermaar here. Drives for the Collection Miami, whereas von Skeltermaar, of course, has been a campaigner for Kessel Racing for lots and lots and lots of years. Fontana up 4 places, Dillon up 2 places, Oscar Rinjovic stayed in P3, then it is Skeltermaar who's lost 3 places as we looked at the progress chart on the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen. So I guess, is it, Thomas, about being brave and confident right at the start of the race and perhaps having very big confidence, you know, in terms of making some of those moves?
Yeah, I mean, you have different kind of drivers, different kind of philosophy. You have some drivers that are pushing straight away as soon as the lights goes out, and some other drivers working like a diesel engine, you know. They're a bit safe on the start. They want to have the car in one piece, and then they need to, and they have to fight after with the pace that they have with the car, and yeah.
Now look here, talk us through this, because I felt that you know, you're trying to anticipate when the lights are going to go out, and that's a bit of a skill, isn't it, Thomas?
Yeah, for sure. You need to understand, they did the race yesterday, and if they look at the other races of Ferrari Challenge that we had this week, they could have maybe tried to understand where the race director, you know, is turning off the lights, and you can get to understand where he's about to turn it off, to try to anticipate it in a good way. Because if you do in a bad way, for sure you have a penalty. But if you do it in a good way, you know, you need to charge the turbo, so you go flat out on the power, on the gas, and then you press the braking to stay within the speed of the first cars, and then yeah, as soon as it's possible you try to release the braking. But we can see that now the 2 first cars are really pushing, and they are quite close in terms of lap time, so they are getting there.
John Dillon has just set the fastest lap. Of course, you get a point for the fastest lap as well, and John Dillon is fighting to retain that P2 position in the Drivers' Championship, so every point is really going to help here. Whoa, is that Tibor Valint all the way across the grass and through the gravel, keeps it out of the barriers and back onto the grass again. Whoa, that's a heart-stopping moment, but that, Thomas Neubauer, was a huge save.
Yeah, great control from the driver, just avoiding the wall for, I think, a few centimeters at that point.
Yes, that was a heart-stopping moment. Look at this, John Dillon has really got on terms right now with Fabrizio Fontana. In replay, how did this happen? Did the car just snap? Was there too much steering input, Thomas?
I think so. I think it just brake and had a bit too much input at the same time. The guys were really lucky because he went into a very narrow place where they had no cars. So in the end, no bad issue for nobody, but big moment for this guy.
Well, he saved it. Fair play, Tibor. And here's Ray Acosta then continuing to chase down von Skeltermaar. We were talking just a few moments ago about different driving styles, and there are drivers that are really uber aggressive, and there are other drivers who are perhaps a little bit more circumspect in terms of... You always struck me, Thomas, as being not an aggressive driver, but you were always somebody that was absolutely crystal focused on what you needed to do. Utter determination. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I mean, it depends really on the context as well, because you know, this is the last race of the championship. I mean, in this context, the championship is already done. But sometimes you need to be to be spot on the opportunity to get either a win or a championship. So when it's needed, you need to find this aggressivity and to use it at your.
There's Thibaut Valin. Oh,
yeah.
Now the rear of that car, and I just wonder whether he had a puncture and whether that's what caused the car just to seemingly snap like that. But who knows?
Could be, but it's weird because usually when you have a snap, especially the way he had it, it means the problem is coming from the rear. Usually,
not the front.
Not the front, because if you have a puncture.
Ooh. Yes, there was another brave moment there,
Yeah.
wasn't there? We just cut away from that just as it was happening. I think that's James Wyland and Thomas Gosner. Yes, indeed it is. Von Skeltermar now and Ray Acosta. So, yes, it was James Wyland and Thomas Gosner that we were looking at. So, the order is Fontana, then Dillon, and in replay here. So that was James then making a 296 challenge gap on the inside of Thomas Gosner.
Yeah, that was really close, but actually I think there's not even maybe a tiny contact, but they were quite, both of them quite fair. Yeah, was not a lot of space, but he went for it, and in the end, somehow still behind.
Now this is Thibaut Valent, who has returned, having had a punctured tyre replaced, and now he's right in the mix because he, of course, is a back marking driver effectively, and James Wyland, I can see from the feed that we get into our TV studio here. There it is. James Wyland is in the garage, and James Wyland, who's coached by a chap called Conrad Grunewold, who is another very, very good driver. Hopefully James will return on track. Meantime, Ray Acosta, who spent several laps behind von Skeltermar, has got to try and find a way through and to pick up this P4 place. Thomas, with these wonderful 296 challenge cars, presumably you can run for a reasonable amount of time behind the car in front. You, as drivers, always talk about dirty air. That's not quite so impactful in these cars, is it?
With this new 296, for sure you are dirty air is always an issue.
Forgive me, and I've only just seen that in replay, Thomas. That was going into turn number one. Ray Acosta trying to get to the inside. There was contact between himself and von Skeltermar. Another heart-stopping moment, to be honest. And here, Ray Acosta is dealing with the back marking car of Thibaut Valent now, who is trying to keep himself out of everyone's way to the best of his ability. But that's played into the hands of von Skeltermar, who's able to escape up the road. Sorry, we were talking about dirty air.
Yeah, I mean, dirty air is always an issue when you're racing. With these 296, it's a bit less of an issue because they are really well done, and because they are all driving the same car, they are all facing the same issue.
Right.
So in a way, it's quite fair. The only issue is that when you stay behind a car for a long time, you have all the car getting in like a too hot condition, so it's becoming tricky with the braking, the tires, and it's a bad circle because when your braking is too hot, then the heat is going through the tires and the other way around. So sometimes it's really important to try to go off the line, especially in straight line, to get some free air for the car, to try to make it less hot.
Thank you for your kind explanation. Thomas Neubauer with us then. I'm delighted that he's here on air with us this afternoon. So car 107 has picked up a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits. Now that car 107 is the car you just saw in the pit lane, the car of Ray Acosta. Incidentally, Ray Acosta's driver coach, who I've not seen this weekend, Marco Bononomi. He wasn't a bad peddler in his day either. So there, confirmation of the time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits for Ray Acosta, who has returned from the pit lane and is back out on track. These 296 challenge cars are utterly awesome machines. Fabrizio Fontana is leading John Dillon by 3 seconds, and it's Oscar Rinčević who is in P3 at the moment. They're ahead of von Skeltermar, Ernst Kirchmeier, Manuela Gosner, Thomas Gosner, Corinna Gosner, a triple play of Gosners, P6, P7 and P8, and then it's Motohiko Isasaki running in P9. That's the way it looks at the moment. This is our race leader, Fabrizio Fontana, whose debut in the Ferrari Challenge was last year in the 488 Challenge races, where he won that championship, having come, Thomas Neubauer, from a rallying background. So Fabrizio Fontana changing disciplines from the very sideways, dust-spicking back end of a car to very, very circuit racing, but has really settled into it very, very nicely. He's coached by Stefano Guy, who knows a thing or two about Ferrari Challenge racing as well. So it's wonderful when you see drivers from different disciplines try different things and also realizing they have a skill set for this as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy to go from rally to track, because in the end, even though you're racing a car, it's a very different philosophy. I think he was probably happy with the conditions yesterday, because he's used to, you know, the car moving a lot and having these very, very bad conditions yesterday. He was probably having fun, maybe more than the others, because in rally you have to have a control with the car, which is unreal. I have so much respect for these drivers, because me personally, coming from the track philosophy, it's something like I think I would crash every time I go in the car, you know. Yeah, I think it's a great example now that we see he's P1. He's really quick. He went purple against sector 2 the previous corner, the previous lap. He's showing the pace, and he's showing that coming from rally is a great tool to be fast as well. Huh?
Yeah, he's very, very consistent. There is no question about that. I love your. I love the fact that you felt you would crash all the time in rally. I don't think you would. I
think you would be surprised.
There is an argument, and I can remember listening to drivers, you know, that you're only a skilled. You become a really skilled rally or rallycross driver only when you can drive sideways as fast as you can in a straight line. I mean, that takes some courage, doesn't it?
Better not do it now with the Ferrari Challenge. It's not done for this. Please don't do it.
I agree with you. So Fabrizio Fontana, John Dillon, P1, P2. Then it's Oscar Rinčević, then von Skeltermayer, Ernst Kirchmeier, Manuel Agosta, Thomas Gostner, and Corinne Gostner. Now, Motohiko Izasaki and Ray Acosta have both picked up time penalties, and right now the 173 car of Corinne Gostner picks up a time penalty as well. You can see that from the red bar on the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen. Now, time penalties is something of a contentious issue because the time penalties you get in here are for track limits. And what we mean by that is, and Thomas will tell me if I've got this wrong, is that from a race control point of view, you always have to keep at least 2 wheels within the white lines on the tarmac. The minute you put all 4 wheels across the white lines, race control are going to give you a track limit warning. In many series, like the Ferrari Challenge, you get 3 warnings, but on the 4th warning, you get your knuckles wrapped with a steel ruler by way of a time penalty. Now, that's not necessarily the case for every series, but I think I've got it right in terms of what a track limit excursion is.
Yeah, unfortunately you get it right. I think track limit nowadays in motorsport is a big topic, because they try to make the track safer, adding more space where you can go before the gravel, which is in the end a good thing. But
of course,
the problem is that as a driver, you just see that you can go there. So
and you're going to
your body and the way you drive, it just push you to go on these places. And yeah, for sure now in a lot of championship, sometimes the strategy is just to not do at all any track limit and let the others having penalties, and you can see that it's actually quite easy to do a lot of track limits. And sometimes sometimes it's a very good tool to avoid going out of the track, but we can see some tracks where you don't have this issue. It's a lot easier as a driver. Like for example, Brands Hatch. I think it's an amazing track. I love this track, and it's like an old school track, because you have the track, you have a small curb, and then it's the gravel or the grass.
Yes.
So you never have any problem with track limit, and in the end, this is what you want, because you do a race, and then Dave, you get you win the race on track, and then you get a penalty at the end of the race. I mean, you know, it's not it's weird, and nowadays a lot of drivers are complaining about this, because yeah, you have so much surprise at the end of the race, because you have track limit, so you didn't win the race. So yeah, it is what it is.
Thank you for your comprehensive explanation of that. And I do know that there are drivers that will use the track limits. They know they've got 3, and they're going to use 3 because that gives them an advantage 3 times.
Yeah, for sure. If you are good enough to try to not do any track limit, not on purpose, you can use it at your advantage. For example, a great example that happened for me personally is,
yes.
for example, 24 Hours of Spa.
Yes.
So we have the same problem, track limit, big topic. But you know, in our cars, GT3, when you have like the full tank and you are in the tow, you are suffering dirt here, like we discussed before, and then the radio is not so flat. But if you want to have a very good exit and try to overtake at the end of the straight line, you need to sometimes maybe cut a bit the radio.
Yep.
So after it's 5 or 6 hours in this championship, but sometimes if you have like 1 or 2 spare at the end of the 5 hours of 5 hours 50, you cut straight the radio and you try to overtake at the end to gain some time. You have to do it in a fair way, because otherwise you get a penalty because you are gaining advantage. But you can play a bit of a game like this, which is in the end not what they want, what the director and the stewards want. But you have to play within the limits of the championship.
You're a racing driver. You want to win.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever it takes within the rules, you're going to try and do it. Right. Thank you for that. This is a fight that's going on for P2 now between John Dillon and Oscar Rinčević. Now, Oscar Rinčević has really brought down, and John Dillon is going to pick up a time penalty, that's for sure, because I'm just seeing, as we look at our timing screen, it looks like John Dillon has got 4 time penalties. That means 4 track limits warnings. That means he's going to pick up a time penalty, so that's his P2 gone. This could really have an impact on P2 in the Drivers' Championship, which is being contested by John Dillon and Oscar Rinčević. So, and that just proves the point with regards to these track limits. I mean, there are some drivers here that have got 6 track limits. Corinna Gosner and Motohiko Isasaki. Now, of course, Thomas, you have to manage the car because as the race goes on, tyre degradation plays a part. So you don't have the grip available to you, presumably, after 20 minutes of racing that you did right at the start of the race.
Yeah, that's for sure. At the beginning of the race, you have for sure a lot of fuel, but you have new tires, or very fresh tires. While at the end, okay, you have less fuel, so the car is lighter, it's a lot easier. But at the same time, the tires is getting used a lot. So you have to manage all of this. And with the track limits, usually what's going on is towards the end, it's getting more and more tricky to handle the car and to make it like 100% under control. So sometimes this is why you have to do track limits, because you go on power, you have a bit of oversteer, and you have to open the line. And this is what's going on. And I think it's 10 minutes to the end of the race, and we will see still I think quite a lot of track limits done.
I think you're right. So at the moment on track it is Fabrizio Fontana from John Dillon, then it is Oscar Rinčević. Now, where is Oscar in terms of track limits? 1, Fabrizio Fontana with 1. So at the moment, with 10.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining, Oscar Rinčević is in a reasonable position. What I will say is that both John Dillon and Oscar Rinčević are a long way ahead of Fons Skeltermaier and Ernst Kirchmeier, who are P4 and P5 at the moment. Then it is Manuela Gosner running in P6. Ahead of Thomas Gosner, Corinna Gosner, and then Motohiko Isasaki. But running in P10 is Ray Acosta, who has set the fastest lap of the race from P10. And you will recall that Ray Acosta had to come into the pit lane, has come back out of the pit lane again, and has set the fastest lap of the race. So it's still really competitive throughout the field, with just under 10 minutes of this race remaining, plus 1 lap here at the Mugello Circuit. Then the circuit that really does make the most of the rolling countryside here and the topography that is available to the circuit design, and makes it such an interesting one, and one that the drivers really love. Elevation changes are something very special in motor racing. You were saying just one of your favourite circuits, an old school circuit, and certainly one of mine, as you would expect, Brands Hatch, where just as you turn right into Paddock Hill Bend, I have to say, and you feel like you're dropping down a cliff edge, don't you? The elevation changes on circuits like that, and like here in Mugello, make it surely, for a racing driver, all the more challenging, forgive the pun, for you.
Yeah, you actually, sometimes, Dave, you're racing and you don't realize how much elevation a track has, and then sometimes you do the track walk, or you go on the track in another way, and you just realize how much elevation up and downs the track goes. Like when you're in the car in Spa, for example, and you go in the radio, you feel in the car this huge compression that you have down Eau Rouge, but you don't realize how much degrees you have of angle. And when you do the track walk, you're like, wow, this is a proper wall. And it's a bit like this also in Mugello. On the TV, you can see a bit of elevation up and downs, but I can tell you, in real life, it's so much better. It's so much more actually. And in the car, you feel it, and at the same time, you don't feel it so much. So it's a very weird feeling in the end.
Right, John Dillon under pressure now from Oscar Rinčević, and actually, I completely agree with what Thomas was saying there about you don't really experience the elevation changes, even though we have wonderful television pictures. It's really difficult to express that. I've walked this track and I've cycled this track, and not only that, I've actually been around this track as a passenger with one of the official Ferrari instructors, Christian Colombo, who took me for a ride out. That's a ride I'll never forget, I can tell you. He's quite a driver, so yes, and it just shows you what Mugello and these fantastic tracks are like. We go to some wonderful tracks with the Ferrari Challenge, and next season, of course, we return to Le Mans in support of the 24-hour race with the Ferrari Challenge. Very much looking forward to that. So Fontana leading from John Dillon, Oscar Rinčević, then it is von Skeltermaar, Ernst Kirchmeier and Manuel Agostner. Fabrizio Fontana then 4.921 seconds to the good. Very nearly 5 seconds to the good. As you can see, Oscar Rinčević just taking a look at the inside line there, but John Dillon around the middle. Now, bear in mind, John's going to drop out of that P2 position as Ernst Kirchmeier puts himself on the inside of von Skeltermaar. Is Fon's going to be able to get underneath the Ernst Kirchmeier car? Yes, he is. So that was what looked like a textbook overtake. Initially was not so, because Fons was just keeping his cool, knowing that Ernst Kirchmeier would carry too much speed through turn one, and he would be able to get back underneath. But what this is doing, the more these two drivers are fighting over this P4 position, it's allowing Manuel Agostner, the new Coppa Shell champion, and Thomas Gostner to get ever closer to them. And this is something that perhaps we don't really appreciate enough, that when you're fighting with another car, you're in battle for a position. That is allowing those cars behind you to get closer, Thomas. Presumably you're always aware of that?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's in your advantage and sometimes it's not.
Right.
Because when you're fighting with the guy behind, for example, and you can see that the spot in front of you is just going away, and that's it. You will never get the time to get the time back. But sometimes in the other way around, it's in your advantage. When you're P1 and you see P2 and P3 fighting, it allows you to just go away and get some free air. So it's a bit, yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose out of it, and we can see that John Dillon is even though he has the 5 seconds for the track limit, now P4 is actually 16 seconds behind. So if he stays like this, should be okay, even though you have the track limit penalty. So okay, it's not P2, but anyway, he is P3 on track. So in this condition, he would stay P3 on track.
That's, if I'm honest with you, that's what I really like, as Ernst Kirchmeier is lining up von Skeltermaar for another go going into turn number one. Is he going to be successful this time around? Ernst Kirchmeier did it last time. Fons gave him racing room, but again, Ernst is carrying so much speed. Can he get the car rotated this time? I think he can. He's done it. He really braked late. He kind of rehearsed that last time around and carried too much speed. This time, he nailed it and got around. And now von Skeltermaar has picked up a time penalty. What I like about time penalties, rather than drive-through penalties, is that races are not ruined by time penalties. And you made the point, which I really pick you up on, is that John Dillon, even though he's got 7 warnings, so he's got to be a bit careful here. You know, actually you can nullify that 5 second if you can keep it enough time ahead of the car right behind you. I think with 7 warnings he could be in strife though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I faced some races where I did the mistakes, the same mistake as them, and I have a 5 second penalty, and the engineer is telling you the gap, and you have to be within the 5 seconds.
We just saw some dust kicked up with Fabrizio Fontana there. Do you think he just dipped a wheel over the curb?
He is P1 with a fair margin of more than 5 seconds, but he is still pushing. We can see this. I think he was on the exit of corner 10. And yeah, he's still pushing. Not an easy corner 9, Arbiata 2. Not an easy corner because it's a very fast one, and it's going uphill, and then from the apex on, it's going downhill. So you don't see where you are.
Right.
Especially in those cars where
so
you are seated very low.
unsighted.
Yeah. You really don't see. So sometimes you're never so sure where you're gonna end up. For him, he was really on the limit because he was almost 2 wheels on the dust, but yeah, managed it well. Still pushing, still pushing.
And that's good to see, you know, just because you've got your nose in front, and as you say, he's got a comfortable margin of 5.481 seconds over Oscar Rinčević. I mean, I presume, Thomas, there is no such thing as a comfortable margin out front, because you've only got to miss a gear, make one mistake, and actually that time can soon go away.
Yeah, for sure. 5 seconds is a lot, and nothing at the same time. So now he just, with the less than 3 minutes to go, he just has to finish the job and just to not do any mistake. He doesn't need to push that much, but he's a racing driver, so he wants to push. He maybe wants to get ready for tomorrow and for the end of the weekend with the Finali Mondiali, because winning this race is for sure in his mind. But now with the more than now 6 seconds to P2, he should take care, and he should bring the car home in one piece.
Well, Fabrizio has not been able to mount a full campaign this year due to other commitments. But when he has campaigned, he's certainly taken a couple of wins. If memory serves me, he won the first race at Monza as we launched the 2025 championship this season, then took a further win as we went to Misano, which obviously Fabrizio Fontana, being coached by Stefano Gai, has done a very, very good job here, and if he can take a win this weekend here in Mugello to add to his tally of a couple, he would be very, very pleased about that. 6.495 seconds is the margin that he has, and with the lap times at the moment of 1:52s, I would suggest that we will have this lap plus one more. Our plus one lap will come at the end of this, and I think as Fabrizio Fontana crossed the timing line, it will mean that we're going to have 2 more laps, or the remainder of this lap plus one more before the conclusion of this Coppa Shell Race 2. Here's John Dillon then for Formula Racing P3. John Dillon chased in the championship all season long. John has raced in the Ferrari Challenge for a number of years, and I have to say is one of the most improved drivers. You know, we've seen now, as we can see Matt Griffin there, he is driver coach. Matt Griffin, of course, is no stranger to success with Ferrari in terms of racing. John has really come on as a racing driver. Oscar Rinčević, P2, Fabrizio Fontana, P1. Those are the top 3 drivers at the moment. It's P4 for Ernst Kirchmeier and P5 for von Skeltermar, ahead of a brace of Gosners, Manuela Thomas and Corinna, all contesting P6, 7 and 8. So here, and around has gone Corinna Gosner. So all of a sudden, Corinna Gosner, that triple play of Gosners, Ray Acosta will have gone through, and actually, no, Ray Acosta did not go through. Corinna had got enough time in hand to be able to get the car pointing in the right direction again. But here comes Ray Acosta then from the collection and Ferrari of Miami to go through on Corinna Gosner, potentially. And, well, Racing Room is left by Corinna, and Ray Acosta is able to go through and keep that, or take that P9 place. And incidentally, Ray Acosta still the fastest driver out there. Time penalty now for car number 132. That will be for yet another track limits. We are seeing quite a few of those, and Motohiko Isosaki is leading in terms of the track limit warnings. He's got 8, which is quite a tally, Thomas.
Yeah, 8 in 30 minutes. It's a good amount of track limits. And now he went from 5 seconds of penalty to 15 now.
That's, yeah, that hurts, doesn't it? That
so
hurts.
They add the 10 seconds for the 8 track limits. So now we can see that P3, John Dillon, is at 7 track limits. He better not do another one, because yeah, adding 10 seconds would bring him in actually in a P4 or P5, he would lose the podium. So he better be careful in this final lap to not do any track limit, because consequences would be massive for him.
You're absolutely right. So keep it within the white lines, JD. Fabrizio Fontana, Oscar Rinčević, John Dillon, then the 1, 2, 3. Car 105, time penalty plus 10 seconds. Confirmed on screen for Motohiko Isasaki. Perhaps the most enthusiastic Ferrari Challenge driver you're ever likely to meet. Wonderful, wonderful driver. So too, though, is the driver of the 169 car, and that is for Formula Racing, Fabrizio Fontana. So he took the championship in the 488 Challenge last year, migrated to 296 Challenge for this season, opened his campaign with a win as we went to Monza, and he did a fantastic job there. He has the remainder of this turn to do before he will see the checkered flag unfurled. So it will be Fabrizio Fontana that will head towards that checkered flag, climbs uphill right now, and Fabrizio Fontana adds another win to his tally. Stefano Guy is delighted with him. Oscar Rinčević, there is Stefano Guy, careful friend, he's down there okay. Oscar Rinčević takes P2. John Dillon hopefully just avoided another, no he didn't. He picked up another one, I think, because Ernst Kirchmayr has gone through to pick up P3, unless Kirchmayr passed John Dillon on track. So Kirchmayr P3, John Dillon P4, then Thomas Gosner, von Skeltermar, Manuela Gosner, and then it should be Ray Acosta. So there we have it. Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell final race of 2025 is completed, and yeah, Fabrizio Fontana sealing that win. And actually, there was quite a lot going on in that race, Thomas.
Yeah, for sure. Great job by Fontana, starting P4 and P1 after the first lap.
Yeah.
And building up a great pace to the end. So it's a good way to finish the championship. And tomorrow we have the Finali Mondiali.
Forgive my awful memory. Did you ever win the world final race? I think you did, didn't you?
2 times.
2 times.
Dave.
So sorry,
Dave.
Thomas. I deserve to be slapped with a wet fish. It's because you've had so much success, Thomas, that I can't quite remember which titles it is that you've had. But oh, well done, 2 times. I mean,
it was Misano, and the last one, and for me the best one was Imola.
Yeah.
Imola was a really good one. Not an easy weekend, because the conditions were like this weekend, a bit up and downs, and very wet, dry, so not easy to work on your driving and to work on your car. But yeah, it was great memories.
Yeah, and you are a great driver, but I remember in Ferrari Challenge, yeah, and as I said earlier on, you were always one of those that I felt offered tremendous focus. And I always thought, particularly when we had what we call an RF camera that would go into your cockpit just before the start of the race, you know, you had that steely look in your eyes, and you were just thinking about what you'd got to do and what you'd got to achieve. Fabrizio Fontana is out of the car, and he's congratulated by Stefano Guy. And the thing is, and this is something that we've said a lot over the course of this weekend, that you know, as a racing driver, you win and you lose as a team as well. They all share you share the emotion, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, okay, you are alone in the car, but not so much, because without your engineer at the radio, you wouldn't do anything. And behind this, you have all the mechanics, all the people, team manager, all the people working in the team to make it happen, to have everything aligned for you to have a good car, to have the best opportunity. And to be honest, without all these guys, it would be impossible to run. So for sure, in the end, you go alone on the podium, but it shouldn't be like this. We should go with all the team.
Yeah, I understand, and it's nice that you regard and respect, as racing drivers, just the support that you get from those that make it happen as well. But let's not lose sight of the fact that you have to be so talented in pedaling that car. Right, getting out of the car now is Ernst Kirchmayr, who I have to say looks a bit like I would trying to get out of the car, to be fair. Ernst is one of our more senior drivers in terms of age, but he's super quick. And this is what I love about the Ferrari Challenge. You've got such a mix, Thomas, of young whippersnappers like yourself that were in the Ferrari Challenge and have become factory drivers. Then you've got older drivers. You've got such a mix of And actually, the Corsa Clancy team do very, very well in terms of categorizing where drivers are placed. Let's bring you the confirmation of the result. Fabrizio Fontana takes P1, Oscar Rinčević P2, then it's Ernst Kirchmayr P3. John Dillon takes P4, Thomas Gosner P5, von Skeltermar P6, ahead of Manuela Gosner, Ray Acosta, Corinna Gosner, Motohiko Isasaki, Tibor Valint, and James Wyland. So, by my reckoning, it's the third win of the season for the driver of the 169 car, Fabrizio Fontana. Driving for Formula Racing, and in the end, he finished with a margin of 6 seconds, so 6.068 seconds. That was a jolly good margin. And as Thomas Neubauer reminded us, he really did all the hard work right at the beginning of the race. Super aggressive, super successful. Race winner. Let's hear from him now. He is talking to Ludovica.
Fafo is back. Congratulations, a very big result, and what a race. And as Stefano said here in the park, for me, this is the most beautiful thing that you have done. How do you feel?
Oh, it's fantastic, it's amazing. The start, unbelievable. I was on my best, and I'm very happy to be here for the first place, and thank you, Stefano. He's the best friends and best coach, and thanks all the team, always close to me. Yeah.
Stefano, can you say something in Italian?
Sì, volevo ringraziare Stefano, che oltre a un amico è uno splendido coach, tutto il team, tutti quelli che mi sostengono, e oggi devo dire che credo che la vittoria arrivi sicuramente dalla partenza.
Grazie. Thank you.
Grazie a voi.
So in Italian there, he's thanking his driver coach, Stefano Guy. He's always very, very thankful, and he said today the win was very, very special. Thank you to my producer, Franco, for giving us the translation there on account of the fact my Italian's not very good. Here are the highlights of Coppa Shell Race 2 from Mugello. And right at the start then, a couple of drivers being called out by the lights that were held for quite some time. Von Skeltermar leading the race. Oscar Rinčević determined to have a go right at the very start, and so too Fabrizio Fontana, looking very good in the green and white 169 car. Ernst Kirchmayr and Tibor Valint all trying to have a go around the outside, as was Oscar Rinčević, but von Skeltermar was having none of it. And then Fabrizio Fontana, like a speeding thing, came through on the chicane, and you could see how his driver coach was terribly excited about that. And John Dillon was fighting back, having had a terrible start, again being held by the lights, and John putting himself back into that P2 position. And how Tibor Valint managed to avoid every other car, and indeed the barriers, that was a moment and a half, that's for sure. Thomas Gosner went into battle with James Wyland, and for that particular moment, James Wyland has won. And then Ray Acosta and von Skeltermar had a little bit of a coming together. Rubbing is racing, they say, and Von's certainly getting rubbed then. And diving to the inside was Ernst Kirchmayr. Now, on that occasion, he did make it work. He'd rehearsed that lap earlier, but that time around, it paid off. Checkered flag awaited. Fabrizio Fontana taking his third win of the 2025 championship. Stefano Guy, his driver coach, was pretty pleased. Oscar Rinčević took P2, Ernst Kirchmayr P3. So we have the podium to come then, and we will be seeing Fabrizio Fontana, Oscar Rinčević and Ernst Kirchmayr. Here comes Ernst first of all. P3. P2 for Oscar Rinčević. And on the top step of the podium, it is going to be Fabrizio Fontana. And just before the anthem plays, I want to say a huge thank you to Thomas Neubauer for being on air with us. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, Dave. It was a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be around you. And I hope to come and comment with you very soon.
I hope so too. Thanks, Thomas.
Applausi per I vincitori, I trofei d'onore sono presentati da Mugello Circuit.
So there we have it then, the anthem having played out, and now it's time for the trophies to be presented.
Il trofeo per il terzo classificato.
As Kirkmeyer in receipt of his, Miguel Molina making the trophy presentations, like Thomas, a Ferrari factory driver, and Miguel, who I've known for a long time, Spanish, very talented driver, and he makes the trophy presentation now to Fabrizio Fontana. So in receipt of their trophies, Ernst Kirkmeyer, Oscar Rinčević and Fabrizio Fontana. Formula Racing, of course, will be in receipt of their trophy too, the Coppa Team trophy, because the teams get looked after as well here in the Ferrari Challenge. Really important, and that's always good to see. And the trophies being lifted up now for the photographs for everyone here in Ferrari Challenge. And who is going to win the champagne race? In my opinion, it will be Fontana. We weren't really close enough to be able to see, honestly. I couldn't have called that one. Ernst Kirkmeyer P3. P2 for Oscar Rinčević. And Fabrizio Fontana taking the win. So in terms of the Drivers' Championship, it is Manuel Agostina that takes P1, of course. And Oscar Rinčević just nipping into that P2 ahead of John Dillon. So Oscar Rinčević second in the championship, John Dillon third in the championship ahead of Ernst Kirkmeyer. Cristiano Marchel, and then the rest of the order, as you can see. So the championship's done and dusted for Coppa Shell in terms of the season for 2025. It's just the World Final races to come on Sunday for our drivers in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. The Gold Roof race that Thomas Neubauer and myself were talking about. He's won it 2 times. And hello to our friends in the TV compound, doing a great job for us. Thank you. And there we have it then. Our Coppa Shell race is done. Manuel Agostina is the Coppa Shell champion. P2, Oscar Rinčević in the championship. P3, John Dillon. So from all of those people that you saw in the truck there who bring us the TV pictures, and from Thomas Neubauer and from myself up here in the commentary studio, thank you so much for watching. And all we can say is bye-bye for now.